Good evening, friends, Fraserburgh Academy parents and students. Welcome to this evening's curriculum event. My name is Mr. Walton and I am one of the Deputy Headteachers at Fraserburgh Academy. And my particular strength area and area of expertise is with regards to our partnerships and our curriculum. So it's my great delight to welcome you to a growth curriculum for 2023, which has been 2 years worth, I would say, of hard work across our school and also across the region with our partners. We've got some time this evening for me to explain to you what's going to happen next year for your young people in terms of the fantastic opportunities that we have on offer, both inside of our school, in the world of work, but also in our fantastic facility at Fraserburgh NESCOL. So there's going to be quite a lot of visuals to have a look at. There's going to be some talking. We have in our evening's conversation this evening, we've got the head teacher, Mrs. Sharp, and we've also got Mrs. Murray, who is one of our deputies as well. Now, Mrs. Murray is going to be managing the question and answers function. And that means that if you do have a question to ask us, by all means, fire that right into the comments. We will be able to see those. Some of those we will be able to answer immediately tonight, and some of those we'll take down and put out onto our social media following the event. So without any further ado, I'm going to get going with my presentation. Now, I will try and stay on the screen as a little face down on the right hand side. And I hope that's what you're seeing just now alongside my presentation. Now then, as mentioned, we have explained that the name of our curriculum as we move forwards as Fraserburgh Academy is a growth curriculum, because we have been doing quite a lot of self-evaluation, not only of our own system, but of the entire system of education from primary 1 all the way up to S6. And we've been asking questions with our colleagues from NESCOL, from the universities, and also from our employers to really get into under the skin of things to find out what learning matters, what learning really helps young people get where they need to be and help them get ready for their futures. And I thought there would be no better place to start when talking about growth than looking at our school's purpose, and that is together creating positive futures, because that underlines and that understanding is at the bedrock of everything that we do, especially with our new curriculum focusing on growth and making sure that all young people are growing throughout their senior phase. Tonight, we're going to be talking all about a positive future that we now believe our 4th year will create. And it involves working together as a team of parents, adults, and young people, all focusing on what the future of Fraserburgh's young people is all about. So the first place to start is to think about what is the national challenge for all schools for their curriculum. And that looks like this. You've maybe heard of a phrase that's been in Scottish education for around 20 years now, and that is curriculum for excellence. And the goals and aspirations of what this excellent idea has been recognised by our international partners who have come to visit Scotland. They came and visited us about 25 years ago and looked at our system and helped us design what we now have. And they came again last year and looked at what we've got. And they really gave us the thumbs up about these 4 big capacities that they want young people to develop. And I think we would all agree that what we want for our young people is that they are successful learners, not only now, but in the future. They know how to learn and keep learning as the future keeps changing, that they're confident in who they are as individuals, and they're confident in their skills and abilities. We want them to be effective contributors, whether that is contributing to their school, home, or personal life, but also in their jobs in the future. And finally, we want them to be responsible citizens, because our children are our future, and they are the ones who are going to be looking after the world when we hand it over to them. So we need them to build that responsibility. So we went back to that as a starting point when we started thinking about our 4th year. Another one that we try and help young people realize is that curriculum is much bigger than just the subjects that we do in our lessons. In fact, our curriculum includes our personal achievements, our learning across subject areas, that's called interdisciplinary learning, our curriculum areas and subjects, which is the most obvious one, and finally, the life of the community, where young people in Fraserburgh are absolutely tremendous. In fact, if we just think of next week and the local pantomime and all the young people that can get involved in there, this week we've had young people competing for STEM in the Pipeline, we've had our concert performance last night, and all the many things that young people get involved with in the community. So we wanted to put these 4 aspects of curriculum back front and center in what we do. So as we started thinking about how we would like to change our 4th year, we asked ourselves the question, what really matters? What is the most important thing for 4th year and the future of the senior phase? And when we spoke to our critics, which is what we call Education Scotland, they're the people that come and visit and do inspections. They're the people that help us decide what to do. They came to us with a really important phrase, and that was teach what matters. Decide what learning matters for the young people of this school in this region. Find out what is the big skill set, what is the knowledge base, what abilities do young people need that will help them in their 5th year, whether that's in school, college or in work, and further into their future. So once we've decided what matters, then we can find ways of teaching that. So to help us decide what matters, so we knew what to teach, we started speaking to our local employers, our college of NESCOL, and the 2 universities in the region, both University of Aberdeen and Robert Gordon University. Last February, we arranged for the entirety of our teaching staff to meet with those 3 institutions in a training day, and each of our teachers met with their equivalents at the other institutions to find out the answer to that question of what matters. And it is on the basis of that learning that we have started to adapt and develop our curriculum. So we've been readily finding out what learning really matters, because what we want to do is we want to make sure that what happens next year for your young people is future proof. It makes sure that what they're doing is fresh, relevant and ready for the future. When we spoke to the young people about their curriculum and what would be the best way of having their qualifications and their learning in 4th year, when we asked the 6th years, the 5th years and the 3rd years, we asked them, what do you think should change? And they said to us, make it real, make it feel real and make it real now. And that gave us a clue about what we needed to change. Rather than learning about things through pictures and videos, actually try and learn by doing it, by having our hands on the objects, the artifacts, and on the skills. Another aspect that came back to us from our consultations was that young people wanted to build achievements through the year, so that they weren't waiting to the very end to find out how they've done, that actually they can build like building a wall, adding term by term, and so that they're gradually building a qualification. When we talked to NESCOL and we talked to our universities, they agreed and they said that's how they do their qualifications, where as students go through their institutions, there is a build-up of achievement as young people go. So that gave us a broad steer as well, to focus on ongoing assessment so that young people know what they've achieved. Young people and our partners also said that they wanted us to contextualize. Obviously, young people put that into different words. What they said to us was they wanted to do the work in the real world, in the place where it happens, or in the way that it is done in the real world. And that told us that we needed to put the knowledge and the skills off the page and into the real world and make it contextualized. After the last 3 years, when we've survived our COVID years and young people have been through such a lot, one big theme that came through our consultation was the theme of well-being, especially mental well-being. And young people spoke a lot about how, especially the 6th years who we spoke to, that year on year when you go through the senior phase and young people have this 1 year mad dash towards exams and then another one and then another one, there's this sense of stress and an increasing anxiety, and we realized that we needed to do something to safeguard young people's well-being. And we believe that what we've got now is a program that will genuinely safeguard people's well-being. Finally, we realized that the purpose of a great 4th year is something that builds to their 5th year, that allows us to build towards higher for those young people that go and do hires. I'm afraid to say that when we reflected on some of our 4th year courses, that we realized that there was a lot of learning that was driven towards the end of that year, but then that stopped and there was a big change of direction when it turned to the higher, even in the same subject. and we realized that we needed to do something to allow us to use that fourth year to build towards hires so young people would perform better and feel more secure. So those are our big themes for change in the fourth year experience. Then we looked at what is the typical pathway for a Fraserburgh learner as they get towards the end of their fourth year. So on this page, what we can see is that the vast majority of our young people, 70%, proceed to do a fifth year at Fraserburgh Academy. They stay on and they do a level 4 or a level 5 or a level 6 course, maybe do hires or advanced hires in sixth year. They do foundation apprenticeships. They do leadership roles in the school and help us run the school. And the other 20% of our learners in fourth year do a fifth year, but not at Fraserburgh Academy. They do it at North East Scotland College, whether that is a level 4, 5 or 6 award or certificate, a work-related accreditation. Some of them use the articulation route, which is what we call a young person who goes to college first, spends a year or two at college, and then transfers over to a university. And our universities in Aberdeen, both RGU and University of Aberdeen, have got excellent articulation routes. So, to summarise, we have around 70% of our young people do a fifth year at school after fourth year. 20% of our young people do a fifth year at college, leaving 10% typically of our fourth years who do neither of those and instead go into the world of work, either through an apprenticeship or through another scheme. So we asked ourselves, how could we adapt? How could we develop our fourth year so that it better suits these pathways, knowing that young people, 90% of young people go on to qualifications straight away after fourth year, and 10% go straight into further training, such as apprenticeships. So we thought, let's look at our qualifications. Let's look around at what other institutions do with the work of SQA, the Qualifications Authority, and see if we can learn from that. So we looked at the college and we looked at other institutions and saw that there are other qualifications that we could offer in school that would match all of those themes. The Curriculum for Excellence, almost 20 years ago, challenged us to design a curriculum on these big areas of rationale. So relevance, progression, coherency, making it personalized, creating challenge, and ensuring breadth. And what I'd like to do just now is explain in specific terms what the change will be for the young people in third year just now as they go into fourth year. So to do that, let's scan back to those hazy days when we were younger in S2. They feel so long ago now for our young people, I'm sure, in third year, but a distant memory. In second year, we, the school, decided what every young person would do in each of their subjects, and we guaranteed this breadth. And as you can see, there's an awful lot of breadth there, and young people enjoyed this kind of challenge to find out and explore and apply their learning in all these different areas. Then, into third year, we invited young people to take charge of around 60% of their learning by opting for 4 optional subjects and a choice of science. Also, we gave them the choice of some electives. Now, we mandated that they would continue to do PE, PSE and RMPS, and also English and Maths. So now, here is the change for the third years as they go into fourth year. First of all, we'll see that there are still 4 option subjects for every young person in school, which aligns very neatly with their current third year. So many young people will choose to continue with the subject area that they chose for third year and use third year as a preparation for fourth year. Unlike other schools, we offer a choice at the end of third year because young people may have changed their mind, and we're mindful of that. Career plans change. So your young person now has an option form with which they can tweak their curriculum for next year. They could change it wholesale and change their mind completely. Maybe they've had a big revelation. Maybe their NESCOL course last year helped them change their mind. Maybe they've developed a new passion and a lot's changed. Maybe they don't need to change anything and they just want to continue on with those subjects, which is fantastic. Either way, the choice is the family's choice. And we will give our advice about what would be the progression path in that subject area. Because now we're getting into fourth year, there is quite a bit of nuance between the different types of subject within, say, geography or within, say, history. There is more than one option. And the reason why I've created the breadth of option is to try and make sure that every young person is learning at the right level for them. Next year, within these 4 option subjects, your child may well find themselves learning alongside a 5th year student or a 6th year student, because our senior phase is a true senior phase, and learners from 4th, 5th and 6th year can be in subjects together in classes depending on what's right for them and their passions. Sometimes young people change again as they go into 5th year and decide they wish to develop a new skill set. So it's very important that when your child is speaking to their teachers, they're listening carefully and that they are taking on board the advice. Furthermore, when it comes to, in a couple of weeks' time, when we have our S3 Parents Night, it's crucial that you actually ask the questions for your teachers to see what advice they're giving, that we ask the questions to our guidance teachers who've got their finger on all the pulses to find out where next for your child. I'm also delighted, quick plug here, to let you know that we will also have NESCOL, we will have Robert Gordon University, and we will also have our employers at that event as well, representatives from our employers. So you'll be able to speak to them as well about what they think and advice from them. So the copper-coloured option subjects, they're translucent because they're uncertain, because it means we don't know exactly what your child will choose because it's up to them. Now, the subjects that are in bold or solid, the literacy and the numeracy, and also PE and PSE, they're solid because that means we're still saying that every young person, by our advice, would continue to study some PE for their well-being and also have a lesson a week with their guidance teacher to learn about personal social education as they're developing as a young adult, and also to keep in touch with regards to their developing career aspirations. Now, literacy and numeracy still remain a core part of what we do, but as you will also see later today, there is nuance there. Once upon a time, we called everything English, but literacy is much more than English. We've got literature, we've got Scots dialect, we've also got language studies. Depending on what the pathway for every young person, they have their own route. It's the same with numeracy. Once upon a time, we'd call everything numeracy mathematics, but now we have maths, we have craft maths, we have tech maths, depending on the direction of travel for your young person. The final bit I would mention here is NESCOL. As you can see, it says in purple NESCOL or work placement. This is because, as you know, all schools are challenged by the Scottish Government to ensure that we are making sure that every young person is developing the skills needed for the world of work and also getting ready for their destination. As you can see at the top, purpose of 4th year is destination ready. I'll remind you, 70% will be staying on at school, 20% will go on to NESCOL, 10% into the world of work. And so one of the main ways that we at this school guarantee that everybody is ready for their future is to do some learning in their senior phase at a different institution. And so in 4th year, that is borne through by a NESCOL place. On a Monday and Wednesday afternoon, our 4th years take up a NESCOL course. And those people that are unsuccessful in gaining a NESCOL course, or there isn't something right for them, we secure work placement or volunteering opportunities so that they can develop themselves and start learning in a bigger space than the school. You know, we'd like to take them out of their element and put them somewhere where they can continue to grow. So that is the change from 3rd year into 4th year. So next, I would like to draw your attention to the piece of paper that every 3rd year has been looking at this week. We launched our S3 into S4 options process this week, and so I thought this would be a good time to speak to you, the people at home, so that you can help with making these decisions and helping young people to make what's right for them. So on the back page, we have a summary of some of the many courses that are on offer. We've tried to keep the names quite simple, but once you do look into these further, you'll realize that there is a few details that will be advised by teachers, and on our main website for choices, you'll see all the details. But in summary, as I mentioned, we have our literacy options. and for some reason this is glitching on my screen, but I hope you can read it okay. So every young person will do some form of literacy depending on what's right for them. It might be English as a second or other language. It might be English at levels 4 or 5. It might be literature and languages. It might be speaking about Scots. He said, destroying every attempt at an accent there. Doing my very best. But each of these courses an excellent progression pathway for young people. And they have got different entry levels. So at level 4, a young person would be continuing to study at a level that is similar to third year and gaining a level 4 qualification. At English at level 5 would be a national 5 qualification. Literature and languages is a blend of level 4 and 5, with very much a preparation for a young person that would go on to do national 5 perhaps in 5th year with the literature element. Similar with speaking about Scots. Next, our numeracy options. As mentioned, we have our maths, which are a level 4 or level 5 option, and we've also got craft maths. Now, craft maths is actually a worthy of its own presentation. And craft maths, I'll summarize briefly because this is already on our website for you to have a look at if you wish to find out more about craft maths. Craft maths is an answer to the question of what does a college or an apprenticeship provider do when a young person arrives without National 5 maths? The employer or the college needs the young person to be able to do level 5 maths, but they didn't manage to get National 5. And as you can see here, the national average for young people getting National 5 is only 38% across the whole of Scotland. So really, National 5 is a service only for the upper 40%, really. This school does better than that. We do a straight 40%. So really what craft maths is aimed at is the young people that are here in the kind of middle chunk that need to learn level 5 maths, but National 5 with its assessment methods isn't right. So it targets the middle 40% in terms of ability level. It gives a new way to access level 5 maths, and it builds to further education. But the key thing is that it's all in a real world scenario. And it's extremely useful because it means that when a young person leaves with craft maths, when they go to either NESCOL to do an engineering based course or nursing or whatever that may be, or they're doing an apprenticeship, they can stay in the workshop while their friends would have to go off to the maths classroom and get craft maths because they've already got it. And that's a course that is co-taught between the school and NESCOL. So as I say, further information about that will be delivered by the maths teachers to students, and it's also available on our website, that full presentation. I'm going to breeze very quickly through it. What I'm trying to show you here is that there's quite a wealth of choice, and on the form it does indicate what kind of level and whether or not it is an O for ongoing assessed or an OE for an option halfway through the year. There will be an option given to young people to decide whether they wish to continue with the ongoing assessed or whether they want to have a shot at the exam at the end. Some courses are level 5, some are level 4, as it says. And what we have here is, for example, geography, which has a level 5 option, a 2-year higher option, which would be starting in 4th year and running on into 5th year, or a 1-year higher option for a small number of young people who are ready for higher even at the start of 4th year. So, as I mentioned before, I've been mentioning this phrase level, SCQF level. What that stands for is the Scottish Certificates and Qualifications Framework, which is quite a mouthful. But what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to explain it in language that mums and dads and carers would understand because of the, our age group. What did we go through when we were at school? So level 7, whenever we see that, that's a 6th year thing. That's the same as HNC, Advanced Higher, or 1st year university. Now, one level beneath that, level 6, is the level of higher. So if we see something that is level 6, that's the equivalent of higher level. And so when you see the 2-year higher, what that means is a young person will start learning at level 6 even in 4th year, and by the end of that year they'll have some units at that level and then continue and finish their higher in 5th year. A 1-year higher is pretty straightforward. That would be sitting in with the 5th and the 6th years because the teachers are recommending that young person needs that level of challenge in 4th year, and they think that they've got what it takes to finish it in the 1 year. Level 5 Level 5 we mention a lot because that's the kind of typical level that fourth years study at, and it's the same level of standard grade credit for those people that are used to that language, or National 5, or Intermediate 2. So whatever you're more familiar with, whatever currency, it's like using pound, shilling, and pence, or whatever, whatever currency works for you, that's what level 5 is. And level 4 is the same as standard grade general level, or National 4, or Intermediate 1, if you were around when that was going on. And as for assessment methods, as I mentioned earlier, we've moved most of our courses over to a method where we can allow young people to build their achievements as the year goes on. So once they've finished a unit, they can feel like they've built one brick towards their qualification, and that will then appear, no matter what happens the rest of the year, that will appear on their certificate, that unit with the level on it, level 5, and whatever that unit was. So if it was drama skills at level 5, that as soon as they finish that unit, that's bagged and tagged, and they can build that, which was a direct bit of feedback we got from the young people about not wanting to wait until the end of the year until they knew whether or not they've actually achieved anything this year. And also in feedback from the college and the universities, that idea of reflecting and recognizing young people's achievements as the year goes on. If it says an E, it's a high stakes end of year exam, which is a kind of an all or nothing type exam. And finally, an O or an E means that it is by default an ongoing assessment, like I said before, with unit passes. And then after Christmas, there is an option to continue with the ongoing assessed route or to have a go at the final year exam if that young person wishes to try that. So on the front of the options form, we've got on the left hand side, we have a form whereby we're asking young people to go around the school up until now, between now and the 23rd of December, talking to their teachers and finding out what level of study they would be recommended for, what type of course within that subject area would be right for them. And then we're inviting young people to list these. So their literacy and their numeracy experience would be listed. Their NESCOL course would be listed. And then after that, there are 4 options. And what I'm asking for, to help the timetabler, we need this listed in the order of priority so that we can make sure that young people get their number 1 choices, number 2 choices. And if there is a situation where a course gets filled up, we can make sure that the people whose number 1 choice it is gets it first. Now, the reserves are very important. That allows us to balance things if we do run out of space. However, because we have a 3-year senior phase model where we have 5th and 6th years in the same classes, depending on what's right for them, then we do tend to run with viable classes, which is good news. So that's how that bit works. What I would draw your attention to is at the top of the form, it does say that we have a dedicated website, an options site, all about our curriculum. So if you were to ever to go to Google, and we say this to young people, just search Brock curriculum into Google, head to senior phase options, or they can scan the QR. So for the sake of here's one I made earlier, I'm going to do that for you so that I can prove that it works. So the Brock curriculum bit should take you to our shiny website. And as we scroll down, we have our senior phase options site here. And that takes us to our dedicated options and curriculum information website. Now, a minute ago, I gave you a bit of a talk through about the difference between a level 5 and a level 6 and a level 4. This chart explains that again in case you wanted to hear that again. Okay, the guide to qualifications. It is confusing, I appreciate that. And people like myself who live and breathe this stuff, we fly through it really quickly, and I appreciate that. But I thought I would show you some of our pages. So if I dove just now into the senior phase business and computing faculty, what we can see here is we have our business-based subjects, we've got our computing-based subjects, we've got some videos exemplifying these things. But if I clicked on where it says Senior Phase Computing Science, it will open up a information page. So every subject have created one of these things, and it's all in the same layout, so you know where to look. So the top half of it here, that's all information about what's about in the course, the benefits of studying it. Down here at the bottom, we've got skills. and the skills that we will develop that are transferable skills, such as numeracy or communicating, digital research, all very valuable skills. On the right-hand side, we've got the modes of study, such as discussions, research, group discussions, individual learning. And on the bottom right of the page, we've got where can you go with this? We find this is a very important thing to have a look at because, as I said before, based on our work with NESCOL and with RGU, the University of Aberdeen, and employers, we've found what pathways would lead from our school. And we really want people to think about that, young people to think about that, so that when they're making their choices, they're thinking, where could this take me? Is this getting me where I want to go? So there's some really exciting development areas there for young people to get inspired by and to help them really make the most of their fourth year. Now, if you scroll further down, you can actually see how things change from the level 5 course in fourth year to maybe a higher or even an advanced higher in this subject. And just to give you a clue of some of the richness in this kind of course, you've got some mobile phone technology and iPad technology, you've got some software development and even some robotic systems. What a brave new world we live in with all these wonderful things to study. And here's an example of the faculty connecting with one of our local universities to help deliver that course. So that's just an example. I'll show you the business one as well so you can see the layout. It's the same idea. We have accounting here, the progression pathways are down here, the skills are there, and again, the level 5 course explained here, and then the higher and the advanced higher. So it is a lot to look at. By all means, take some time, have a look through the website, have an explore with your young person, and see all the wonderful things and opportunities that we have to offer here at Fraserburgh Academy. Okay, so that's what the I mean, as you can imagine, it would be absolutely impossible for us to represent that in a booklet, or if I put that on a form, the form would be, you know, a few hundred pages long per student. So if you go and have a look at that and explore to see what's the best option for your young person, I think that's the best to make use of a digital process. What I would say next is our college experience. Now, I mentioned earlier on that every young person at Fraserburgh Academy is entitled to a college course. We have secured from NESCOL a course place per student. So everybody can have a place if they are prepared to go to it and if we can find one that suits them. This graph here, I won't spend too much time on it, but we're very pleased with our developing partnership over the last 6 years. Pretty much what you're seeing here is a big straight line up. We had a bit of a dip during COVID. As you can imagine, young people weren't too prepared to go and do online learning at the college. However, we've jumped back in the last couple of years. What I'd like to take away from this is the fact that most young people end up with 83% of our fourth years do a college course, and so that's really, it's the last 17% that will be looking for placements or volunteering opportunities. Bit of a spin there. So what can we do at college? I mean, it's so exciting. Again, you know, if I could turn back the time, what I would do with my time at school if I could have it all over again. So we've got engineering, a fantastically popular option. We've got lab science for those young would-be mad scientists. We've got education and childcare, which is a really popular course. We normally have 2 classes of that. Really good for young people that are looking towards any kind of education or any kind of working with young people course. We've got construction, which is a mix of joinery as well as more kind of your concrete and your brick-based work. We've got digital media, which is very much an art and design-based digital media. Also good for people interested in computing because it looks at the world of digital and kind of games design and sprites and that kind of thing, creating 3D worlds. Really exciting course, always really popular. This is one of my favorite ones. Maritime, we have a bus that goes across to the Peterhead Scottish Maritime Academy that goes on Mondays and Wednesdays, and young people who go there. So far it's only been boys, but one day we are going to get a young lady going, and they learn how to navigate boats, they learn about navigation, they learn about rope skills, they do deckhands training. Not only do they get a level 5 qualification, but the Maritime Academy also includes, they offer for free for these young people 4 of their essential deckhand certificates that gets them their ticket onto a boat. So the day they turn 16, they are legal to go on, and they can get hired by any of the skippers down at the harbour. It's a fantastic way for young people to develop their employability, so that if they're taking a year out between college and they're wanting to go and earn down on the boat, then they can do that. They're legally allowed to once they've turned 16 and they've done this course. Fantastic, and there's all these virtual flight decks, which is fantastic. What else? This was a really popular course. This is one that we've co-developed with NESCOL, looking at automation, so ROVs and robotics and renewables, turbine technology, a really big hot ticket for Fraserburgh as we develop and look towards the future of the harbour with its the new wind farms that are coming on stream. Next, another very popular one, hospitality. So this is not just food preparation, but also looking at the management side of hospitality. So looking at events, wedding planning, looking at hosting big corporate events and all the theory behind that and practice. But it does also involve kitchen work as well. So again, a hugely popular one. We've got business and accounts in context, very good for our would-be dragons denners. We've got social sciences criminology. Now, this is an interesting example. This is a course that we also are teaching next year in school. And so this is a great opportunity for young people to show balance. If they had 2 college courses that they wanted to do, well, that means they could do the criminology in school and do the other college course, or vice versa. If they couldn't fit criminology into their in-school subjects, they could do it at college, which is fantastic. I was shocked to see some of the work some of the young people were doing, researching on serial killers, but they show great passion in finding out how the human mind works. Really good for futures in psychology and that kind of thing. We also have a blended STEM course, which is a mix of automotive, which is vehicles, construction and engineering. We have a set of courses that are on the Fridays only. So for these courses, it is listed on the options form under column B. I think pattern 2 college courses. Now these run on a Friday, and we share the facility with other schools on these days. Whereas on a Monday and Wednesday, it's Fraserburgh on tour, pretty much, if you go over to the college. And Fridays is where we share it with the other schools. Now, the downside with the Fridays is it does cut across 4 of your in-school subjects. So what we say is we will support this because we want to get it right for every young person. So if this kind of course is your #1 priority, we will allow it, but we will give it with caution that it will mean that you'll lose 4 lessons of your subjects. So there's vehicle maintenance, there's hairdressing, there's beauty, and there's uniform services. So a very much a PE-based course that would aim at young people looking at joining a uniform service. So again, that list of subjects can be found on the front of the options form. And again, reassurance, I should have said this at the beginning. Tonight we are recording the presentation. So if you did want to listen again, you couldn't get enough, then by all means, have a look at the YouTube for the school. We'll be putting that onto our website and also onto social media. So what might learning look like for your child? So I thought I'd kind of give you a picture of what their kind of curriculum would look like if they made their choices, just so it can kind of, make it a bit real. So every child will have their 6 subjects. They'll have their PE, their PSE, and they'll have NESCOL or extended work placement or some form of vocational experience, either volunteering or a work-based learning. So how might that look for a given child? Well, here's Mr. Fraserburgh, and he happens to have chosen National 5 English and National 5 Maths for his 4th year. He's doing level 5 physics, level 5 accounts, level 5 computer science, and level 5 PE scholar, which is the theory side of PE, some practical and some theory. That's because he is intending in 5th year to do higher PE. He's doing core PE and PSC on top of that, and he's chosen to do level 5 automation and renewables at college. So as you can see, with his math and his physics and his computer science and his automation and renewables here, this is somebody who's clearly looking to maybe be going into the world of offshore engineering, maybe even robotics. yeah, looks like Fraser's going in that direction. Here we've got Miss Cora B. And she's doing language and literature in 4th year. She was advised by her English teacher to take 1 more year before going on to National 5 English. She's likely to be a National 5 English candidate, but in 5th year. So this year she's doing level 5 language and literature, which is an ongoing assessed course, which has a level 5 literature unit in it. And it means that it gives her a year to kind of get more skilled, to get a little bit better, more confident before having a go at the National 5. She's also been recommended to do craft maths because of her interest in science and technology, and also because of her ability level going into 4th year. She's been recommended to do a combined science course, which is at level 4, which is a blend of mostly biology and chemistry, which is called Science and Health. And she's doing level 5 drama, level 5 music, and level 5 music technology. So she's clearly interested in somewhere in the performing arts here, alongside her science interest. She's doing core PE and PSE, and again, building on her drama interest, she's chosen to take criminology because she'd like to find out about how humans tick, what makes people do what they do. Final example here for us, we've got Mr. Phil O'Orth, and he is recommended to do National 5 English and Maths. He is one of our bright sparks in geography, and so his geography teacher has recommended a 2-year higher to start the higher in 4th year and finish it in 5th year. He's doing level 5 Scottish history, and he's doing level 5 religion, beliefs and values. And he's also chosen, in addition to his geography, to do a level 5 geology, which is the study of earth, rocks and how they formed, and also a study of what goes on and how we work with geology, such as mapping, like sonar mapping and ground penetrating radar and things like that. So he's doing core PE and PSE, and he's opted to do level 5 maritime, which is a natural choice if you think about his geography understanding and his geology. And he's clearly going to be looking at maybe doing something to do with offshore energy, or maybe offshore working in the subsea environment in the future, which is a great combination of courses for him. And learning about the ethics involved in a sustainable world through his RBV. So an excellent set of choices there for Phil O'Orth. So that brings us to the end of my presentation for tonight, with time for any questions. So I'm now going to open up to Mrs. Murray to see if we've got any questions that we would like to have asked by our parents.
Hi, Mr. Walton. We've got one question, and it is, if a young person does not want to attend college or a work placement, can they select another school subject?
The way that we would structure things for the Monday and Wednesday afternoon is that we would want young people to have a vocational experience. So the alternative to work placement and college would be some form of volunteering in school to develop their leadership and their skills. So that would be that's the answer to that one. I would say the time in the week would be where the 5th and 6th years are doing other courses at that time. So all of our teachers will be dedicated to that. So at that time in the week, we're looking for young people to develop, it's like future time. So if it's a NESCOL course, if it's a work placement, if it's volunteering, which can be in school on support, that would be that's that time of the week. Whereas the 6 subjects that we're offering in school are the in-school courses. So the answer is, let's look at either an employability-based course, which is what we would offer in school as an alternative, or an out-of-school experience at that time. Thank you very much for that question. It's a good question. And for the benefit of the recording and for the people in the call as well, if there is a further question that comes up and you're thinking, oh, if I wish I'd asked that in the live event, or I wasn't at the live event, by all means, you can contact the school through your guidance teacher or through the main school inbox if you do wish to get a response on that. So don't worry if it's not springing to mind tonight. Well, with that in mind, what I'd like to do just now is I'd like to thank everybody for coming along, and also thanking the future viewers who will be with us virtually as they come back. I had several parents last night at the concert saying that they were going to be watching it in the recording. And oh, we've got another question just coming in. If the young person does a level 4 course, do they achieve a certificate at the end? Yes. So every young person gets their SQA certificate, which lists all of their achievements on, and a level 4 course. So all of the qualifications that a young person would have achieved are represented on that. So if it was level 4 drama skills, then that would be listed as level 4. Careers, English, math teachers due to them. Okay. So this question here we've got is about a parent, because there's only so many slots available for a parents' night. If you've got any further questions that you couldn't get to the teacher of your choice, then the next step would be to speak to guidance or send an email, and then what guidance could do is they can go and ask that teacher and get a response back to you. Now, careers are more than happy to meet following the event. They've got diaries that we can book in with that for you if you've not been successful on the night. But I think I was just finishing the other question as well. So every bit of achievement that a young person has with the units and the courses will be represented on the SQA certificate that a young person gets.
I think there's another question there, Mr. Walton. Do you see it?
Oh, okay. So yeah, we have a great range of level 5 courses. The question here is regarding to the National 5. What we are offering, because we've got a limited viability in the school in terms of what we can offer in terms of time. The consultation we've been having with our employers and with our universities and with the college is in terms of what learning matters for young people in 4th year. And what we've done is we've talked to them about what matters, tried to find a rich experience for young people, and then identified qualifications that will let us teach that will allow young people to have success, they will be able to achieve, and then they'll be able to prepare for their 5th year in either in school or at college or in the world of work. And so the mix that we are offering is the result of what those consultations were. So hence we do have some National 5s such as English and maths and some sciences, because that was the response we got from our employers, the university and the college with regards to these are the actual qualifications that sometimes get looked back to when a young person is leaving 5th year from school or from college going on to university. But the other National 5s were not looked for. And when a young person finishes 4th year and immediately replaces that qualification with another qualification, the question is, what would better prepare them when the National 5 actually means that we have to stop teaching for 10 weeks of the year to have exam preparation, when for young people that are doing a gradual build and unit by unit approach, then that means they can have all their learning in school, which is a better preparation for their 5th year. Can we take 2 college courses? Yes, it is possible. It has been done. But the problem with the Friday one is, as I said before, is the fact that we are in a way kind of competing with other schools on a Friday. Other schools make use of that time. And if a young person chooses to have a Monday, Wednesday and a Friday course, and if there's then a toss a coin who should get the Friday course, if it's full, then the college might turn around and say, well, you've already got a college course on the Monday and Wednesday. So yeah, it is possible, but we would say go for the Monday and Wednesday as the primary one, because that's our school's time. Every year I negotiate to add more capacity to the Monday and Wednesday, and I am always in dialogue with them about increasing the opportunities, about making sure, moving some of those courses that are only on a Friday to a Monday and Wednesday as well. So I'd say yes, in principle it could happen. There's risk of it not happening because of what I've said, but we can try it. But I would argue that try for the Monday and Wednesday if possible.
Just one more, Mr. Walton.
If pupil does over the year assessment instead of the final exam, do they still get the same qualification? If a pupil does only the ongoing assessments in level, will they get the exact qualification as the ones? No, no two qualifications are the exact same. What we're offering is the level. So when we speak to the college, and when we speak to Education Scotland, and when we speak to the universities, what they're saying is the level. What level are they studying at? So when I speak to my equivalents at college, at the admissions team, they're saying to access a level 6 course at college, we want young people to be studying at level 5. So for example, let's look at computer science. So the students this year who are studying National 5, they have no units that they walk away with, 0 units, and they only have their National 5 course award, which is fine. It's okay. It proves that they're studying at level 5, but this time next year, young people doing computer science will have a level 5 mobile phone technology. They'll have level 4 software and software coding, and they'll also have, for the accelerated learners, a level 6 unit in robotics. So that's what I mean by us being creative with our courses in 4th year. It massively prepares young people to go forwards into their 5th year, whether it's at school or at college. But by not being tied to this high stakes end of year exam, the teachers can be much more responsive to what our employers are saying and the universities are saying and the college is saying, and they actually build even more in their year. They build more achievements. So when they're looking at their STA certificate and they're handing it over either to an employer or to their college, they've got much more listed at the same level, much more detail listed down than just one line that they may or may not have got.
I see there's a 7th question in there, Mr. Walton. Can I just say, I think these are great questions.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks very much to all the parents who have posted questions. And as Mr. Walton said,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't post one tonight, there's plenty of opportunity for you to contact us at the school.
So this next question is to do with value, I guess, and to do with, what is the relative value between a National 5 rather than an NPA? Well, the National 5, the NPA, if they're the same level, as I say, that is what is being looked for when we're looking for progression. So when a young person finishes 4th year, the question is what are they taking with them to their next destination? So the vast majority of young people, their destination is 5th year. So we are going, right, so have you studied at level 5? In which case the NPA or the National 5 just as valuable, and then you're going to move on and do hires with us, like move up the level or go further with your level 5 studies. So in that sense, then how useful, how valuable was the National 5 to any other course like a National Progression Award or a unit? Well, the question is, how well did it prepare you for this next course? And unfortunately, as we've been looking at, and the reason why we've been looking at our courses in this way is the fact that we don't think our current process best prepares young people for their 5th year. Neither does it best prepare them for their college 5th year if that's where they go. So in terms of buying them their ticket to where they're going, the level of study is what's being needed. And the relative value, we have not been dogmatic about it. We've been asking ourselves the serious question, which of the National 5s are needed and valuable? And that's why we have kept hold of some of the National 5s in response to feedback from our employers and from our college and from the universities, such as the National 5 in English and maths and some of the National 5s in some of the sciences, because in rare occasions they are looked back to. So what we're saying is that the 4th year qualifications, the key thing that we're wanting is what's best going to prepare a young person for their destination, what's best going to allow them to learn what matters, the important skills, knowledge and understanding. And actually their next qualification that they're going on to is what's going to get them to their next destination after that, if that makes sense. So that's why we've looked in this way, because for example, the level 5 art experience is directly in result to what the School of Art asked of us, because they're tired of receiving young people into art school who haven't got the creativity needed, and that's because the high stakes end of year exams actually drives the creativity out of the experience. And so what we have done is we've gone to our ongoing assessed level 5 experience, so that young people can actually explore lots of different areas of art movements, art history, and also styles, so that by the end of the 4th year, they've got a wealth of portfolio of creativity that they can then choose from to develop their higher portfolio. And that's an example of how we've been so closely working with our universities and colleges to design this. So yeah, that question of value is a really good one, but really, the 4th year qualifications just buy them to their next destination, and that is, as I say, 90% a 5th year in school or at college, and that 10% onto the world of work, which is why we've been speaking to the employers. A question there about could they join the 5th and 6th years? The 5th and 6th years will be doing hires and advanced hires at that time. So the level 4-5 courses are all about, or all taught in the rest of the week, making space for the NESCOL time, and the work placement time or the volunteering time. I hope that answers that question. We will offer an in-school experience for young people that if it's not right for them to do NESCOL for whatever reason with their needs. We understand that for some young people it isn't right because of maybe the anxiety involved. So we will offer an in-school experience, but it won't be in amongst all the other option subjects. It will, because it will be a minority of young people that will be there, which is what we've found over the last 6 years, that the courses we had alongside those and the Monday and Wednesday afternoon were so small in numbers that it became unviable. If a pupil is going to NESCOL and stays on to 5th year, do they continue at NESCOL? Okay, so so I'm going to interpret it this way. I hope it's the way it's meant. If a pupil is going to NESCOL in 4th year, say on a Monday and Wednesday afternoon, and then stays on to 5th year, they would choose again for their in-school subjects. So they might choose a blend of hires or level 5 courses. They can choose another NESCOL course if they wish, as they go forwards in their senior phase. That is open to all 5th and 6th years as well. But the majority of after doing this for 6 years, we've found that the majority of 4th years do NESCOL in their Monday and Wednesday afternoons, and then into 5th year, young people kind of focus on their hires a bit more. Some of them do another NESCOL course because that's right for them, that's fine. And then into 6th year, young people come back to doing maybe foundation apprenticeships at NESCOL and so on when they've got some time. But 5th year seems to be a year when a lot of our young people really want to focus on hires. Also for support for learners, I'm going to interpret that as for young people that have got ASN needs, we make bespoke pathways for young people with ASN needs. Sometimes that's to do with NESCOL, sometimes it's not. If doing the 2-year hire, if they're doing the 2-year hire, they do not sit a Nat 5 at the end of 4th year. No, what they do is they start learning at level 6, which is the level above. And what they do is they do some of the higher units in 4th year, and then in 5th year, they complete the higher course, which we really value and that young people value as a way of learning slower, deeper, with more field trips and more outdoor learning, a chance to actually learn by doing on all those things. And so if for whatever reason, I'm going to interpret that question another way and say, well, what happens if they change their mind at the end of 4th year, right? And they'll be doing a 2-year hire. Well, what they have is they will have some level 6 unit passes, which, as I said before, if they've changed their mind and choose to go to college after 4th year, and they've been doing, say, 2-year higher geography, then they can demonstrate that they've been learning at level 6. So that is a ticket that buys them into a successful NESCOL place, because they can demonstrate that they've been learning at level 6 and they've got that on their SQA certificate at the end of 4th year. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our time for tonight. As I said before, if you do have any desire to ask any more questions, or if something sparks you when you're watching back the video later on, then by all means fire that to the school email address at fraserburgh.aca@aberdeenshire.gov.uk, or fire a message to your child guidance teacher and we can field it that way. More than happy to speak further. But thank you so much for your questions tonight. Really good stuff. Yep, understand where all those are coming from, and we really do encourage you to come along to Parents' Night. I'll be there, so will NESCOL, so will RGU, so will some of our employers, the guidance team and all of your teachers. We can talk over a cup of coffee as well to get deeper into this if you wanted to have more back and forth. The nature of tonight's conversation has been a little bit one-sided, I appreciate, and I'm sorry if my voice has bored you, but I appreciate you staying on till the end. But thank you so much, and we'll see you if you can make it at Parents' Night. Thank you so much, everyone.
Good night.